fly. I be rolling with you, mommy, I be feeling the motion. When I'm inside you, I be deep as the ocean. When it comes to your love, can't lie, it be strong as a potion. That's why me and you forever be coasting. Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, yo. We back, top of 2024, yo. Sparking conversation. I'm your boy, Rod One, man. And listen, thank y'all so much for rocking with us all 2023. That was a really dope year for us because, you know, like I said, I just brought the show back in 2023. Well, no. It was 2022. It was late 2022. And, yeah, and then we made it through consecutively through the year. We stayed consistent. And yeah, we're here, yo. So I thank y'all, man. And actually, to all the people that be downloading the audio version of this podcast, yo, thank you to y'all, man, because y'all going into the year like that. And that's what I appreciate, you know what I mean? Because like I said, a lot of times people do things or they start things, and because you don't get that instant gratification that you may be looking for, even if your content might even require that you feel like you're supposed to get that instant love right then and there, and it don't come, you know, a lot of people will give up when that don't happen. You know, because see, I think a lot of times when people think things don't go the way that they think it should go when it should go, it'll be a thing where they feel like it wasn't meant to be. And that's not always the case. I think timing is everything. I think the more consistent that you are with what you do, it'll get you to where you're supposed to go. And I think a lot of times so many people, they get caught up in this microwave thing because, you know, social media has everybody with the instant gratification. You know, you get likes right then and there, you get hearts right then and there, you get follows, a lot of ladies get DMs and a lot of different things, and it gives you that instant gratification. And so I think they feel like whenever they put something out, it don't come right away. I think they feel discouraged really quickly because they translate the like button and the love button and the inbox to really a person liking or supporting you, and it's really not that. And you learn quickly when you go into doing something like this, doing a podcast or creating content. You go into doing this, and then next thing you know, you're looking at your streams or you're looking at your views, and it might not be exactly where it is when you just put up something random. Or you put up a picture, or you do something like that, your joints blow up. But when you put on something that is of substance, or it's something that you're creative or you're creating, you know, then you get a lot of crickets. But one thing I noticed that whenever you turn your social media into business platforms, I think that's the difference with a lot of people too. It's like, you know, this is your personal thing. People use social media for whatever they use it for. And I think that's their personal preference. That's their thing. That's their business, not my business. But I use it for business purposes only. And then, you know, I do link up with people like from school and family and stuff like that. We do chop it up. And I'm not going to say that don't take place. But for the most part of the use that I use it for is for business. My page is for business. So it allows you to see analytics. So any of y'all out there that may not know that, yeah, you could put up some content and it may not have a whole lot of likes and comments and stuff. But then when you go look at your impressions, you're like, wow, okay. And then you notice that when it comes to algorithms, the people that you engage with the most is who see it first. So whenever you get those views, and then you don't see the like, and you don't see the comments, you pretty much know who is not supporting you, even if they say they are. I think that's the thing. So once you realize that, then you'll keep putting up your content. You'll stay connected because then it's the new people that don't know you is who you're looking to grab, not the people that you do. So whenever you're doing stuff like this, please don't gauge what you're doing based on who you already have or what you think your following already is. You know what I'm saying? If you want to count on it, but just be ready to be consistent because it's a bunch of new people that you're going to grab and that's going to really hold on to whatever you're doing and that's going to really give you that longevity that you're looking for, all right? Back. So 2024 started off crazy. Y'all already know that. Cat Williams shut the whole shit down. He went out there and just unloaded the clip on mad people, and they've been responding, but it don't even really matter because for so long they've been the ones talking about him in interviews, and he ain't been saying nothing. He hasn't been going to interviews defending himself or commenting on what people said. So now that he let it all out the bag, like it's crazy. And he a genius too, because he used it right in the midst of him starting his new tour. He unloaded the clip. Next day, the tickets went on sale. He mad smart. But a lot of other stuff that's been happening in 2024 already. I got aliens in Miami walking through the mall shopping or whatever, but it's mad aliens getting caught out in Miami in the mall. You got cats jumping over, flinging themselves at judges. But you got a lot of other things that's been carrying over from the years, and this is something that we're gonna talk about tonight because I got my homeboy on the podcast tonight. You know what I'm saying? Gonna chop it up with us. We got John C. Barnett. Y'all already know the civil rights CEO. Y'all can't stop the. We gotta always get like this is one thing about my platform. Like we always say, man, you know, when you get something like that, it's easy to get into your ego and just want to feed people what you think you want them to know, especially when you start figuring out that people paying attention. But it's also, you know, another thing when you lend your platform to other people. And again, tonight, like we're going to do, like we always going to do, we're going to lend my platform, we're going to lend it to other people because we got John C. Barnett, and we're gonna talk. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna chop it up. He's been doing a lot since the last time we had him on the show. I want to start the year off with the update so that people can know, like, if there's causes that you feel like you want to support this year, or if it's something that you need to do to motivate yourself to get out of the mindset of thinking that we don't need to come together. Sometimes you need to hear stories of people who need people. And hopefully, you know, and put yourself in a position where if that was you, what would you want people to do? Would you want people to come to your aid? It's one thing when people always talk about they don't like people, but let you go through something serious enough, you'll be wishing that people from everywhere will come and support you. You know what I mean? And tonight we're gonna talk a little bit about, you know, a young lady named Matine McMillan, her son, man, you know, a 15-year-old son was shot in the head by the police, and you know, it's one thing for us to hear this story a lot. Like we know that this is a part of what goes on in our society, right? Like, you know, police injustice, unarmed civilians getting shot by the police, and you know, for all these different reasons. Now, there's a lot of reasons why we could come up with why this happens. But the one thing that we can never come up with is the way that it makes the people feel who actually got to deal with it. And that's the thing that I don't think nobody thinks about when it comes down to whether they feel like this person right or wrong. But these family members have lost a person through violence, y'all. Like, that's different. You know, I know it's a lot of things that happen to people on a day-to-day basis. We understand that, but at the end of the day, regardless of who is at the hands of, whether it's the police, whether it's a regular person, civilian, whatever, there's people out here using that type of force to express themselves because that's just what the deal is. That's the thing now. That's the going thing. You know what I'm saying? People automatically is going to wind up in a position where you just might not see them no more. You know, they leave the house and then you just don't see them no more. Think about the story that just broke when you know, you have the young mother whose child was out here and left the house, and then bam, y'all found out he was buried behind the prison, and then there's 214 more bodies found buried behind this prison. And then the saddest thing about it is that when people had to try to come recover the bodies of their loved ones that they found out that was back there, they was charging the people to come get the bodies that they illegally buried back there. Like, let me tell you all about this system if y'all don't know about it. This is the reason why when we talk about things like this, yeah, it's serious and it gets emotional in the whole nine. But you know what? At right now, this is the best thing that we can do when it comes to the age of information, is to allow people the platform to come up here and talk their talk and speak their piece, because there's so many other places that people go. And they always asking, you know, well, why did they do this and they didn't do that? And then we like, I bet. So then when we hear from the horse's mouth, we give y'all no excuse not at all to not either sympathize, empathize, or put yourself in a position where if this was to happen to you, what would you want? Would you want the people to jump on and support you and get this thing going so we can so we can get some justice? Because, you know, the one thing about it is that once these people are gone, they can't come back. And the fact of the matter is, the reason why these people are allowed to be able to torment or put people through this type of torment, but then go home and rest every night and feel proud about what they did without worrying about kiss their children, knowing that this other family's child is not going to be able to get kissed again. Like, yo, you crazy, man. So yeah, every chance we get, yeah, we bug out and we wild out on here, but we also won't give, like I said, my people our platform and the opportunity to tell a story, and we're gonna clip this up and put it out. So real quick, I gotta introduce everybody that's coming on. Now remember, I got Meek in the building. Illy gonna jump on in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to all the people dealing with but the tornado situation that's going on tonight. So people's power is jumping in and on or off and on. So, you know, I know that may affect how many people are watching tonight, but don't worry, y'all. Y'all know what we do. We always gonna chop it up, clip it up, and put it back out so y'all ready. All right, so I'm gonna bring the crew on for tonight. So look, we got Meek in the building. I got John C. Barnett, and again, I have Miss Katrina McKean in the building. And we gonna get on here and we're gonna chop it up and we're gonna figure it out. So let's do this real quick. Meek, what's going on?
What's up? Happy New Year.
Yeah, no time, yo. Dag, New Year, long hair, yo. Your hair long, yo?
It is. It's been up in a ponytail, so I know I put it down today and I was like, okay, inches, let's go.
All right, there you go, there you go. I bet. Let's see who we got in the building. Oh, there you go. Can't Stop Doug, man. What's going on? Oh, now you got your mic muted. Unmute your mic, OG.
Okay, how y'all doing? How you doing? Hey, Mika. What's up, Rob?
Hey, man.
How y'all doing?
Good to see you. Good to see you, man. For real.
You too.
Yeah. All right, so let's get this young lady on. How you doing, Miss Katrina? How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. Yeah,
How
good
you
to
doing,
see
Katrina?
you.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Well, good to see you and glad to have you on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so listen, this is what we want to do because we understand that, you know, what you're going through is deep, all right? And we know that it's something that we know, it's certain information that need to get out to the people. We know it's certain things you can't say. So whatever you don't feel comfortable with asking throughout this conversation, feel free to not answer it. But however you feel and whatever information you need the people out here to know so they can know how to support you and get under whatever you have going on, this is the platform for you. All right? Definitely. So I just want we want to start off, we want to let you introduce yourself to the people and then tell everybody what's basically going on with you.
My name is Katrina McKean. I'm the mother of 15-year-old Jaheim McMillan out of Gulfport, Mississippi, shot at Family Dollar Store. The day Jaheim was shot at the Family Dollar Store, he was not being chased. That car was not being chased by the police. And my son was not the driver. He was a back passenger. He jumped out as well as the front passenger. And they went left. My son went right and then tried to go back left. And I'm like, really? I'm not sure what happened. But what I see from the video is that my son was running away when he was shot in the back of his head. I never seen my son turn around and point a gun at the police like police Chief Adam Cooper said that my son did, and that was supposedly the reason why my son was shot. But video don't show anything that support what he said. And justice still hadn't been served. The MBI, the Attorney General, all of them. None of them wanted to make a judgment on that officer. So they sent my son's case to a secret grand jury and let them decide. And that decision basically lets this officer walk free of murdering my son for no reason and not giving me an explanation of what happened. Not giving me anything that pertains to my son.
Wow. Yeah, and I did some research myself, and I was out here looking around at the case, and there was a lot of witnesses too that can vouch for that, like that, you
Right.
know, that your son was actually really, you know, he didn't have any weapon, he didn't brandish anything like
Right.
to cause them to want to do that. And then at the end of the day, I don't understand why in this society they don't realize why we may run,
Right.
even if we are right or wrong, but why we would run at that moment when the police come because of that fear. And I don't think they understand that. Like better relations would cause us to be in better positions where they don't have to feel as threatened as they try to come off when they do these type of things. And that's what just irritates me so much that you know we are put in this position where we have to live in fear. So we got Fred in the building. How you doing, young man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, sir?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. You want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yes,
Fred,
sir.
Fred, we can't see your face, so y'all both put some light on.
Oh, okay. Oh, all
You
right, hold on.
too, you too, Sister Martine. We want to see y'all beautiful face. If y'all can put some light on. I'm in the car as well.
Okay, there you go. There you go, bro.
Okay. Yes, my name is Frederick Chambliss. I'm the VP of True Healing Under God under Mr. Barnett down here in Mississippi. The whistleblower for the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I'm on the front page of the Jackson Advocate, and I've been trying to bring awareness to the corruption of the Bureau of Prisons. And Mr. Barnett brought me on to help with Miss Mateen's case. I'm down here in Mississippi. I'm 2 hours away from Miss Mateen. Oh, sorry, 2.5, 3 hours from Miss Mateen. So I'm on to help with her, bring some exposure with my platform because I'm familiar with the case. And from last time I heard, Mr. Crump was down here on the case, and when I talked to Miss Mateen, I found out that he was no longer on the case. So that I was disheartened to hear that. So I'm like I said, I'm joining in with Mr. Barnett to help bring exposure to what to Miss Mateen's son's case, because it's often too familiar that goes on around here in Mississippi. And I don't know if y'all familiar that that not only that we have, not to just take away from her case, they've had several, close to 215 bodies in the buried in the back, buried behind prison down here in Mississippi in Jackson. Yeah, we got a lot going on down here in Mississippi, man, and it's like we need exposure down here. We need exposure bad, and I'm doing my best, like I say, to help with the especially with the exposure with the Federal Bureau of Prison, which is widely corrupt. Right.
And yeah, I definitely mentioned that in the beginning of the show about that finding of the 215 bodies behind the prison, and it was also selling the bodies back to the loved ones of those that was
right.
back there, which is crazy.
Right.
So look, this is what we're gonna do, because we're gonna get in a little bit about Attorney Crump and the situation that may have when he started and where we are now. So John, this is what I want to ask you real quick, because like we both mentioned before, like this is not something that we don't deal with on a regular basis. The problem is that when it comes down to the exposure of us going through these particular type of scenarios, we don't really get the platforms to come in that really help us like that. So from your experience right now going on with the case, talk to me a little bit about how the exposure has been so far.
Well, believe it or not, I just talked to Sister Mateen on yesterday. And what gives us a lot of hope is that, unfortunately, Attorney Crump, who I just don't know how he does it. He texted me on yesterday, and he's just he's literally overwhelmed. But what gives hope is that he told Miss Mateen that she has a case. It's just going to take some work, and I guess he didn't have the time to do it. So we're going to be putting a new lawyer in place for her. I'm excited about helping her with her case. As she said earlier, he's riding to the Dollar General or Family Dollar with his friends, and there's a phobia that goes on in this country where Black boys are just scared of the police. It's just a phobia. It's a serious phobia. The police turn their blue lights on behind a white person. They just like, oh, that must be Jim behind us. They turn the blue lights on us. We trying to figure out, if they're going to pull us over. We're going to live to see the next day. And unfortunately, this young man didn't do anything wrong. He jumped out the car and ran. And then, unfortunately, they shot him in the back of his head. And so the sad thing about this is that the police orchestrated this where there was a gun. It was like 15 feet away. But they said he turned around and pointed a gun. And obviously, there's no gun beside him on the ground. Luckily, we had some powerful photos that someone was able to take that we can use for our case. But my goal is really to shine a light. What I do with civil rights is shine a light in dark areas. And Mississippi got to be the darkest. Mika, Mississippi I'm literally looking at starting a civil rights office in Mississippi because it's horrible down there. How are you going to bury 215 bodies behind the jail? And I was talking to somebody last night. I was like, you know what? That's the perfect place to hide them. Who's going to look behind the jail?
Yeah.
You can't put them in a black church. You can't put them behind the football field. Who would think to look behind a jail? And so that's not some type of joke that they're talking about. These are bodies behind them. And so Mississippi needs to just be shut down. The whole state needs to be shut down. They need to merge with Florida or Georgia. They don't need to govern themselves because I think they've been governing themselves too long, and that's why we're in the situation we are now. But Ms. Patine, I'm excited about Ms. Patine's case. We're going to be doing a press conference for her and also getting a new lawyer in place. I'll be reaching out to my big brother, Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz. On Tuesday, real quick, we were supposed to get the officers sentenced that shot Michael Jenkins in his mouth in Mississippi. There's 6 deputies. They moved their court date to this morning to March, but they can jump around all they want to and play courtroom shuffle. They will be sentenced, so they can't escape that. And so as we travel back and forth to Mississippi, we're going to be helping her. I'm going to be introducing her case to my attorney, Malik Shabazz in Maryland.
There you go. So listen, let's do this a little bit because I think this is important because you made an important point earlier and you said it's the phobia, right? And that's the thing that we don't talk about that often because I think what they realize is that although, right, we can always say to our children, the police come, don't run. You can say that all you want to, but the problem is in that moment when that fight or flight kicks in, and all you can think about is everything else that's been going on in the area that you live in. Because like y'all said, Mississippi, there's a lot of things that are coming out now, but think about the things that are undocumented. Think about the things that have not gone with no light shed upon them at all. That gives them the arrogance and that ego thing to make sure that they continue to do what they're doing. Outside of them not having those pictures that y'all had in the Family Dollar and stuff like that. So for a second, let's do this because I'm sure all of us are parents up here, and as much as we teach our children and we try to put them in the right mindset, it's just that we are not there in every option, every time that they got to go through whatever they're dealing with out here. But let's talk about the phobia a little bit. Being Black in America. How do we get around this thing? Like, how do we get around the fact that we do have to see that when we see the police, our first instinct is to run?
I would say that Black boys in this country need to visit the mosque on a regular basis, and we need to learn everything that the Nation of Islam is doing. I had heard that they don't let their women go out past a certain time. And now that I think about it, in my club days, I didn't see Muslim sisters hanging out at the gas station after I leave the club. I'd see our sisters, unfortunately, half naked at the club with their outfits on. They respect and obey the law. They say yes, sir, and no, sir. They don't do drugs, right? And so I say that to say this, and I've been telling the Black pastors this in Charlotte. If y'all don't try to figure out how to sit down and listen to what Minister Farrakhan is doing with the Nation of Islam, then we're just going to be going around in circles and circles. And what I mean by that is this. I've been fighting civil rights, been full-time for 17 years. I've never, ever, ever, ever gotten a call from the Nation of Islam. Not for police profiling, not for weed in the car, not for guns, not for resisting arrest, not for assault on an officer. I've not got one call from the Nation of Islam. And that is damn near impossible. That black men in this country don't get pulled over or they don't even get, I haven't got a call from them about traffic tickets, brother. And I'm close to the mosque. In Jackson, there's about 30 brothers. That's every time I come to Jackson, they with me. In Atlanta, my Muslim brother, Kenneth Muhammad, we just sued the Fulton County Jail. In Charlotte, I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm a Million Man Marcher. I ate dinner with Farrakhan. I hosted the 17th anniversary of the Million Man March in Charlotte. My point is, I've never gotten a call from them. So all I'm saying is that I wish we get to the point, all of us, myself as well. I don't eat pork because of the nation, that we learn what the Nation of Islam is doing, because they are not calling me and they're not getting in trouble. And I think part of our challenges is that the phobia also comes with us seeing the images on blog radios and on TV. You know, the breaking news story. This reporter in Charlotte told me, I was telling this feel good story, Mika, about a pastor feeding the homeless and taking care of inmates. She's like, John, we don't want to hear that. I said, what do y'all want to hear? She said, we want to hear the top 3 trending stories. And this was last year. What did Kanye West say? What did Donald Trump tweet? And what black man got shot by the police? Those were the top stories.
Gotcha.
That's what they want.
I will say this, though, when it comes down to, well, this is something that will be said if it came down to that. I think, you know, if we put a spiritual structure in, I think that will help out a lot. I don't know if it's a particular one or not, because, you know, it's just too much that comes behind that when it comes down to following someone based on a religious, you know, aspect when it comes to that, you know. But I do believe that, you know, for young men to deal with the phobia, it also comes with, you know, with us being able to have a better relationship with our children as black men. You know what I mean? So I think that's where it starts at first, before it actually gets put on the, you know, any societal or any religious or any other, you know, construct. I think it could start there first, and unfortunately, that's not what happens in a lot of our. In our households, where, you know, and I'm not even speaking from the fact of, you know, mother and father being together. I'm just talking about mother and father parenting the child, you know, and in the sense of the father actually being in the child's life. So let me ask you something, Miss Katrina. Throughout this process of you dealing with this, which is, it's hard to really ask you like how you're doing, right, or how you're feeling, because there's really no way to explain that, right, to a person, and you know, feel comfortable with saying that. But if you can help me to understand a little bit, let's talk about your son and the type of person that he was. Tell the people, you know, like, what was he into? What was his hobbies? What are the things that he liked? What are the things that he talked about that he wanted to be? What was his aspirations, if you can tell us?
Jaheim, he likes sports, so it wasn't just one particular sport that he liked to play. But he was the type of person that if he didn't play enough, he would like want to quit. I don't want to play no more. I'll wait till next year. That type of thing, you know. Right. He mostly stayed home and played video games. Until he got like maybe 14 and a half, and I start letting my son leave the house and go out and walk the neighborhood with his friends. I didn't mind that he did that, because the boys that he hung with, they actually grew up next door to each other, and so they seen each other every day. And then I moved, you know, from with his father, which was next door to those boys. And I moved like maybe 2 blocks, so it was walking distance. So he still seen those boys, you know, every day. Gotcha. So at one point, I started letting them walk the neighborhood, like, you know, his whole family is in the neighborhood. Gotcha. They loved him. The kids at school loved him. They say that my son made him smile, made them smile. They made him laugh. He was a jokester. You know, if you could have met Jaheim, I mean, I'm sorry, I use profanity.
No, you
But
can cut. No, yo, you can go ahead. Don't worry. I'm gonna say one or two by mistake. Go ahead.
but I know I miss my son, you know, and I like within a month or so leading up to my son's death, I was having this feeling and this bad feeling like something was going to happen. So I'm talking to my son like, you know, son, I love you. You know, nobody loves you like I love you. So, so I'm asking him, is there anything going on with you that I should know about? Is anybody threatening you? Because I'm not having these feelings for no reason. And he was like, no, mama, you know, nobody's doing anything. I'm not doing anything. And I said, okay, but I still had those feelings.
Right.
And I worried a lot.
Right.
He had a few, and he was in Gulfport High School, so he was a freshman.
Gotcha.
Just got there not too long ago. He got a few teachers that loved him at the school.
Right.
I know it's a lot of students at the school that still to this day defend him because the administrators at the school they didn't recognize or help the student.
Right.
Celebrate his going, you know, and they was all basically threatened by the teachers not to walk out of class, and if they did, it would be consequences, and I don't know. I just feel like it was disrespect to me. You know, my son didn't go out and kill nobody, rob nobody, or do anything that he shouldn't have been doing.
Right.
That's right.
And I hate that my son ran, but I don't blame him for running because that's not the first time that he's been targeted by those officers.
Oh wow.
And
I thought that was interesting. I mean to cut you off, Sister Katrina. There was no reason for them to pull the boys over. There was no reason for the stop at all. But the phobia kicked in and he got out and ran. And you know, the cops are dirty down there, so they're gonna plant things and have things positioned in a certain way to make themselves look or put them in the clear, so to speak. But something that really touched me last night that she had said the four guys, young men that was in the car with her son, they all got tattoos because they missed their friend. That stuck out of my head last night. And then also, Sister Katrina also told me that when you got the DA, Brother Ra, and they don't really know what to do and they don't know how to prosecute this case, and they say, well, to clear our hands, let's give it to a special grand jury. You know what that sounds like? Sounds like when Jesus was crucified, right?
Right.
And I forgot the king name, you know, my biblical memory, but there was a king that said, hey, what y'all want to do with Jesus? Because I'm not going to have this on my hands. And he told the crowd, he asked the crowd, what do y'all want to do to Jesus? And they said, crucify him. So that took his hands away in reference to having his blood on the hands of Jesus. Still got his blood on the hands. And that reminds me of this particular case here, where when you get a DA in a position where they don't know what to do, that's questionable. And when it's questionable, that gives me hope. That's what I use to fight. That's the fire I use. Because if y'all had to send it to 12, 14, 16, I don't know what the number is. In North Carolina, I think it's 18 for a grand jury. But not only did she say grand jury, she said a secret grand jury. So now y'all behind closed doors trying to figure out what to do. And then keep in mind, Emmett Till case, I got to tell you this, was all white men. So you know what the verdict was going to be. So I wonder if this jury was all white. You don't know because they don't show you the faces of the grand jury. Nowhere. And that's the problem.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we have to face when it comes down to the fact of why we run. because of these type of injustices that take place, not only in the front of the camera but also behind, like you just said, in places like secret grand juries where they put a group of people together that may be all connected to the person that is really the person in trouble, that's opposite of who we are. You know what I mean? And then they got to decide how they're going to treat their friend. And that's the thing that it boils down to, especially when we in these places like, and there's so much, what it's saying. Like, so many people say, hey, y'all, all the people need to link up and move to the South and do this whole new, renaissance and bring back the Black Wall Street and do all that. But when we look around, that the worst things happening to us is in the South. So Fred, let me ask you something, brother, because I know you are and Meek, I'm gonna come to you in a second too, but Fred, let me ask you something real quick, brother. So from your standpoint, right, did you grow up, first of all, you grew up there, or you recently planted there?
Yeah. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi. I've been in Rankin County, Mississippi, where the Goon Squad, I don't know if y'all familiar with the Rankin County Goon Squad. The 6 former white deputies that pled guilty to torturing 2 black men, Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker. When one was shot in the mouth, they ran in these men's house and tortured them for 2 hours. And but that's on another note. But yes, I was raised here all my life, and I want to add to that, Mississippi is corrupt from top to bottom. And I don't know if y'all familiar, our own governor, who just got sworn back in, reelected today and sworn back in for a second term, has been under investigation. Now, listen what I'm telling you. I don't know if y'all familiar with this. The governor and Brett Favre and the former governor all have conspired together to steal government welfare money, $77 million. $77 million. And Brett Favre, y'all know who Brett Favre is, right?
Right.
Yes, all these people conspired, and allegedly they've been doing this. But the state auditor, who is Shad White, blew the whistle. He investigated, he blew the whistle on them, and now you got this whole big open investigation. With $77 million was of welfare funds was stolen. $5 million of it was funneled to build a volleyball stadium at the University of Southern Mississippi, where Brett Favre's daughter played at, and the former governor was the alumni, and Brett Favre was alumni at. So I mean, and you got all these police departments down here just corrupt, and even with the Federal Bureau of Prisons, who I've exposed, just Mississippi is just burning. Mississippi is burning, and it's taking people like Brother Barnett to come down here. We get outside resources. We have no people here just fighting for us. And I had to meet Brother Barnett through him fighting for the Rankin County Goon Squad. And I seen him on TV, and I seen how he wasn't scared and how he talked to the Rankin County Sheriff Deputy Brian Bailey, who's the sheriff in where I'm at right now. They've been doing this stuff for like 20-something plus years. And there is more and more dirt coming out on this sheriff who just ran unopposed and got him he's back in office again, ran unopposed. I mean, Mississippi is just corrupt. And it's like, man, Mississippi is really burning. Mississippi is really burning.
Well, look, this is so, and shoot, I was going to ask you how it was growing up for you there, but now I don't even think, you know what I'm saying, we can even go there, because, wow, yikes. All right, so, well, and that's another thing, right? Because when we say things like, for us, this is how I feel, right? I feel like when it comes down to us and our power, I think that sometimes we settle. And I don't mean that as us just sitting here in front of us, but I think that as a group of people, we settle too, because, we don't understand the power of working together, because there are certain places that we no longer need to reside. Because it's a thing where it's a lot of land in the South that was taken wrongfully from people and families and stuff like that. And there's so many different people who don't know that right now in the South, they're paying rent on land that they pretty much probably own. And they haven't done the research and know the particular things. You know that? Because a lot of times what things happen to people, they happen from a place of remote. And sometimes it's hard for you to actually think about these things when you're in the middle of it. But I wish if it was some way, in a shape, form, or fashion, when we come down to understanding these particular towns and cities and all these things that actually do that to us, that we could group up everybody and relocate. I don't know if somebody got something talking in the background. You might want to mute a little bit. But for the most part, that we could relocate, because I do understand that in these towns, they still are getting paid by tax dollars that are paid by the very citizens who are actually going through this abuse. And that's the fact. The fact is that the corruption and all the things that go on, you know, inadvertently, we are funding. Because a lot of times we won't pick up and move, or we won't pick up and go, or we think about what we don't know on the other side. But the things that we do know, we'll deal with that versus it being the other way around. It reminds me, John, you know what this reminds me of the story about the slaves that were freed, but because they were so used to being a slave, they voluntarily went back to their slave master. You know what I'm saying? Because they was afraid of what was the unknown, even though they knew the unknown came with the freedom. And I feel like that's a lot of things that a lot of us suffer with when it comes down to these particular places that are corrupt, because the longer we stay there, we actually fund it. You know, you don't pay that state tax if you're not there. They have to figure out ways how to continue to do that. There's ways for us to put this together. So, Meek, let me ask you this. You're a mom, right? And in this particular stage, what do you think, as far as the way that the justice system is set up that we know, right? And with you being an implant from Connecticut and stuff like that, just growing up there, you know, how do you feel when it comes down to the things that we know as a mom that we have to face when we let our children go outside?
It's terrifying. Especially somebody like me, I have anxiety. So thinking about it too much, they won't leave the house. Like, I will be one of those moms if I think about it too much, because it is terrifying. It's like the most that we can do is give them the knowledge. Try, like what Mr. Barnett was saying, getting them into that Islam, learning some different ways to handle situations, so that when that flight or fight kicks in, they're not running. Because I don't want to say it's their fault because they ran, you know, but if they didn't have that fear, if they knew just who they were and that was good enough and made them confident enough to handle those situations, instead of thinking my only option is to run. That's the only thing that we can really do, because we can't change anybody else's actions. We can't change thoughts. We can't change what they're going to see, or what they perceive in that situation. So all we can do is just try to equip them with what they need to survive in this world, and letting them know it is a little bit harder, you know, unfortunately, because of your skin. And coming to the South from coming up north, I mean, it's different up there. It's not to say that there's no racism. It's just different. It's different here, I feel, than it was up north. The fair's kind of the same, but it's more set down here for me. Like it's a different fair setting.
Right. That's why I asked. That's why I wanted to ask about, because of the transition from north to south, because it is a different type of thought process when you go outside, depending on what region you're in. And you know, a lot of times we could just go visit somebody and boom, you know, because this is their environment.
Yeah.
And so what I want to do, because Illy just got on. What's going on, El? We would like to do a couple of things real quick, because I want to make sure everybody chimes in on this, because we have to find a way, right? To find a way to not be in fear. Now, I don't know how we can do it. I don't know what it is. I know, John, you said it could be based on, you know, people learning what goes on in the Nation of Islam. It could be whether the church steps in and comes up with some type. I don't know, but whatever we need to do, because right now, what I'm saying to you is that in Miss Katrina's case, we can only inspire people going forward. But she can really, really inspire people going forward. And that's why I want to make sure that as we're talking and we're having these conversations tonight, that we don't draw too far off of her story, because we want to make sure that, you know, people understand that she's been able to talk this, even tell her story and break down about her child, and be able to articulate it in a way where she could get everything out, you know. And so much emotion that could go into what she's dealing with. And as Black men, whether it be me with the platform, whether it be you, Fred, that's jumping in and helping Mr. Barnett, and whether it's, you know, the attorneys that come in, this is something that we all got to do more of. And I think, John, you know, you was on the show before, and you were saying, like, a lot of the issues that go on in the household of us is because it's the Black man's problem. And at this particular point in time, we have to use our voices, our platforms, or whatever we can to support our sisters as much as possible. Right?
That's correct.
So
Yeah,
in this
I think
we want to make sure that
and I think
my bad. Hold 1 second, because I want to give
okay.
Miss Katrina, I'm going to give her the opportunity to speak real quick, because I just wanted to set this up the right way. So in the event, Miss Katrina, I just want you to be able to say, like, in your own words, you know, what is like dealing with everything that you've had to deal with so far when it comes to shedding the light on your son's case. I think you're muted.
Okay. It's a lot, you know, and most of the time I can't think straight because I have so much running through my head and so many problems, and it really throws me off. And
yeah,
even trying to take care of my 10-year-old son, he knows what I'm going through, and he knows, you know, exactly what happened to his brother.
Wow.
So when I'm not feeling well, like, you know, sometimes in the middle of the night, my son will come in there and he'll just hug me. But I don't know, you know. I really just don't know how to think and what to think, because I just can't believe that I'm going to have to live the rest of my life without my son.
Right.
And that's
That's
hard. And it
and
really makes my anxiety go up just thinking about what I'm never going to be able to have with my son again.
Wow.
she's been her own attorney, and I think that one thing that God has blessed me with is just giving victims resources. Like,
Right.
imagine the most popular, and nothing against my big brother. Trust me, y'all know he get 400 calls a day. That he
Right.
can only sometime Attorney Crump can only send me an emoji, because I know he's
True.
probably got 600 text messages. But
Right.
to know that she has been her own lawyer, she had to find out the time frame and the statutory time frame to sue. She's been filing paperwork. She got had a lawyer locally in Mississippi, and he dropped the ball. And then she's still mourning her son's death. And
Right.
you know, and Christmas just left, and no Christmas gifts for him because he's not here. And so part of what I've been blessed with, and that's why I don't thank God that my brother was shot, but I can understand that my brother, after he got shot 3 times in his back by my cousin, that I am a little numb to death and murders and shootings. And so, yeah, that's not my son. I got a son, he's 25, but I can relate because I've been a victim of murder myself. And I vowed to just help everybody that's dealing with situations like this. And so in saying that, I think the number one thing that she needs is that love, support, prayer, from a godly man, And in particular, not just talk the talk, but I'm going to Mississippi. I'm gonna meet with her in Jackson, and I'm gonna give her access to a lawyer and do a press conference. And I think that's the key, is to give individuals those resources, not to be at P. Diddy's house.
Right.
I said not to be at P. Diddy's house,
I know what
because
you're
Minister
saying.
Farrakhan wouldn't go to Minister Farrakhan wouldn't go to P. Diddy's house. P. Diddy
Gotcha.
has to go to Minister Farrakhan's house. And if you're ever on YouTube, I got to throw this in there. I was talking to somebody the other day about that. About pastors have to make sure they have that strong black image we had in 1970 and 1980. You can't be at Puff Daddy's house. I'm sorry. And I don't care who said something about that. Because if you look on YouTube, R. Kelly goes to Farrakhan's house. Farrakhan didn't go to R. Kelly's house. And when he came, he sung I Believe I Can Fly, and he had his shoes off. So what am I saying? There's time for us as black men and black leaders and black pastors. There's no, all them black pastors down there hooping and hollering on Sunday. I couldn't find one church for a justice rally for MLK in Mississippi. And they got about 80 churches down there because of that fear. Not only has black boys got a fear phobia of police, the pastors got a fear, and the local leaders got a fear that they're not going to have a nice relationship with the chief of police. If I come down there and stage a justice rally for Dr. King, and y'all got 215 bodies behind the grave, and Michael Jenkins getting shot in his mouth, and this young man got shot in the back of his head, running in the back of his head. And so shame on you leaders for not doing that. Shame on the fact that I got to come from Charlotte to Mississippi to wake them up. But I don't mind doing it because I love my job. But I pray the day that they get that same mindset that Malcolm and Martin and Medgar have, so that things will be better. I wish all three of them were alive today. I know if Medgar Evers was alive in Mississippi, things would be different. But they shot him in the back of their head too. And he was going in to the house to eat with his wife. And I visited his home a couple of months ago, and you can feel his spirit inside that home. And so not only did Sister, so what happens is, what am I saying real as I close? Sister Mika, they still shooting us in the back of the head. They shot Medgar Evers in the back of the head when he got out of his car after having a meeting, an NAACP meeting. And then he walked down the driveway, they shot him in the back of his head. And yet in 2023, they shot this brother in the back of his head. And so we got to get to the point where we say no more. Real talk.
Gotcha. And yeah, so I was gonna say that, I was gonna ask that, yo, like, I don't understand why in a situation like this would be a perfect time for the church, when it comes down to it, to actually show their actual support and their and how they feel spiritually about what's going on to people, regardless if they're a member of their church or not. And I was gonna ask that. So how is the community rallying around all these things that's happening in the news down there? But I mean, John, I guess you're saying, like, yo, the fact that you got to come from Charlotte to go down to Mississippi, it does speak volumes. First of all, it speaks volumes in the sense of that you're actually, you know, out here putting in the work, that people are finding you regardless of the state line. But secondly, it puts a whole lot of damper on what's going on in Mississippi as well, as far as the leadership there. Like when it comes to the black community, and I'm talking about from the church, like, why are they not gathering and rallying, and what, or are they? I don't know. That's what I'm asking you guys, because of course that's not going to make mainstream news, and people not going to do that on their podcast because I don't get them clicks. So what's going on down there? Is the church rallying after finding these 200 and something bodies? What's going on?
Well, in studying civil rights, I realized that Dr. King was challenged by pastors in his Birmingham letters. When he was writing Birmingham letters, it wasn't for black folks, it was for black pastors. He was basically getting on them about saying he was a troublemaker. So what happens is, when I dealt with the reality, Sister Katrina, Sister Mika, that I couldn't find a black pastor to support me when I'm coming down there. At least break bread with me and tell me what's going on in your neighborhood. I had to groom my own, like Malcolm did in the movie. So I found Brother Fred Chambliss, and we staged a press conference for him because he was wrongfully terminated at prison. So I found myself to be creative, to say, you know what, if I can't find no pastors, I'm a groom activist. And I found one of the most finest, most vibrant. His new name is the Whistleblower. He actually has Brother Rod, you got to go on his page. He got a referee uniform with a whistle, Mika, and he'll go in front of a prison, a jail, and blow the whistle like Too Short, for real. And so, and I don't know, there goes his paper. So I told him, I said, be loud and dramatic. And so, Sister Katrina, in order to bring your case to the forefront, to rise your son's case, not that nobody needs to be elevated other than to rise your case above the 215 bodies behind the jail. It's getting a lot of news right now. to rise yourself above my own personal case, Michael Jenkins getting shot in his mouth. We have to be loud and dramatic with your son. We got to let the whole world know who your son is, the way Sister Trayvon Martin's mother did. And so that's a matter of being loud and dramatic. So laugh at the referee uniform in the if you want to. He's been doing interviews every week because it worked.
Talking about. Yeah, look, that's what happens whenever you put those things out there. And not like I said, this is not the time to make it seem like we have any type of thing that we don't agree upon. But this is what I mean by when it comes down to the religious aspect of our community. The religious aspect of our community gets the backlash that it does is because they do not step up when the time is when they're needed or necessary the most. And as much as we can look at different types of religion and we can say there are all aspects of religions that can make things okay or good or great and whatever ones are. But nothing to me stands out more than if you have a relationship with God that you're not standing up for God's people or his children.
That's right.
Like let's put all the egotistical thing aside and let's just think about his children. Like, did he not say he protect children and fools, right? So then if there's a children up under that, or a child, sorry, if there's a child up under that, the first thing or the first group of people who should be on the front line should be whatever the religious sections are. I don't really care what the denomination is. The denomination just shows that it's a bunch of people confused about one person. But it doesn't mean that at the end of the day, what your fundamentals is, your foundation is, what the reason why you're saying you take up tithes and offerings should be about the people. If that's who you represent. If you represent Jesus, what they say, he walked around to the people. He didn't have a church. He went to the people. So whatever they talking about in their churches or whatever, the fact of the matter is that they're not on the front line with you three people right here. It's crazy in all aspects. They don't get no pass for that. And I don't understand like why people are still pouring up in their churches every Sunday if they can't understand that, yo. Like, listen, if this could be you on the news next, I'm sure that in some of these churches out there, some of that 200 and something bodies back there is related to somebody in some of these churches on one of these corners. Because not only do they got the big churches, they got the mom and pop ones in the corner all out there too.
That's
like,
right.
Where are y'all? Like,
that's right.
So that's another thing that is really bothersome about that. So we have to figure out a way. And you did by linking up with Brother Fred. Fred did it. He's doing an awesome thing by saying to himself, I'm going to dress the role. Regardless if people are laughing at the uniform, costume, whatever they want to call it, he's dressing the role.
That's
and
right.
I feel like if you're a pastor and you're going to throw in a collar, if you're not, you're going to throw in a suit, or if you're not, you're going to throw in a sweatsuit because you want to relate to the people, or not. Where you at when these type of scenarios come on is what we want to see. They ain't nowhere to be found. So I want y'all to understand, like, yo, I don't know how much more that you guys need, but what I'm gonna do is, like I said, everything that we say, we're gonna chop it up, we're gonna clip it out, and we can continue to market and promote this show throughout the rest of the year, so we can keep continuing getting the word out and helping y'all be as dramatic as possible. So Fred, that's what I want you to do real quick. And Miss Katrina, we're gonna give you the floor back too. But Fred, real quick, I want you to you know what I'm saying, in your enthusiastic, in your whistleblowing vibe, all right, I want you to, you know, let us know like what's really going on down there. How you, what is your goal? What is your mission? And what do you plan on accomplishing by being under John Barnett?
Yes, sir. At first, my mission was just only to expose the Federal Bureau of Prisons because it's been widely criticized for the corruption that's been going on for many, many years. And it wasn't only until Jeffrey Epstein just mysteriously was killed in prison. I mean, mysteriously committed suicide. Right. And so, you know, that you got the old director who had to step down due to not accepting responsibility for all the corruption that was going on. And now you got the new director who I've been going at super hard, saying that she supports whistleblowers and if we see something, say something. And I've been trying to, she's on the front paper. I'm on the front paper with her picture, trying to expose more corruption, especially at the facility that I was at. So,
Right.
you know, when I was at home for 2 years getting paid under the table, and they offered me a $300,000 settlement, and I refused the settlement. And it's like ever since I refused the settlement, because they wanted me to resign and combine all my cases and drop my complaints against management, and I refused because it ain't about the money. Yeah, I want the money later, but I want accountability. So the next person behind me and those people, the future generations behind me that works at the prison will no longer have to suffer the consequences of reporting management, because it's ongoing right now at the federal prison. So my goal was just to expose the corruption, but God had to take me out of my comfort zone. And when I realized I was out here fighting this machine by myself and that nobody was helping me, that my own union, I was the vice president of the union at the prison.
Wow.
My own union turned their backs on me. And I went to the church wouldn't help me. I'm talking about, when I tell you nobody helped me, I said, God, what are you doing right now? What is this? Like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm trying to do the right thing. Like, you really want me to go out here and crash out. So, but you know, like I said, I was at home for 2 years getting paid and trying to get help exposing the corruption. And like I say, God had to take me out of my comfort zone and show me that it's just more, it's more than the prison. I had to look at the state of Mississippi. And when the Rankin County Goon Squad, and I already knew about the Rankin County Goon Squad, but I didn't know they was taking it that far. When they assaulted those 2 black men, and in my county where I live at now, and I seen that on the news, and I seen Brother Barnett and his big brother and everybody come from out of town, and they rallied at the courthouse, and I saw that on the news. I said, I got to be a part of that, because Rankin County is full of corruption, the same crap that I'm dealing with. So I said, I got to join that fight. I got to join the forces to be that's fighting that corruption.
Right.
And so when I seen Brother Barnett on TV, and when he went in on Sheriff Brian Bailey, when he talked that smack, I said, golly, I got to hook up with that brother, because I need somebody who has a voice and who has a platform, who is not scared. And so when I went out and took these journeys with Brother Barnett, and he took me along with him on these civil rights journeys, I'm seeing like the exposure, and I'm like exposing the corruption. I'm like, this is where I belong. Right. So it's like I say, God pushed me out of my comfort zone to get in this fight. Because I'm far from, like, I'm so pissed off right now at all this corruption that's going on around here. A nigga can't tell me nothing. So when I heard Miss Mateen, when I seen her son's story months and years ago, a year and a half ago, I was like, damn, you know. But I thought they was on that. But when Brother Barnett brought it to my attention, I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm ready. I'm ready. Whatever needs to happen, I'm there. So when, you know, I talked to her and she told me the details of the story, I was like, man, this is just some more cover up, and I'm sick of this shit. I'm sorry, but I'm sick of it.
No. I get the anger. No, man. Look, passion is something that people misconstrue as anger a lot of times.
Yeah, they portray me as an angry black man. I said, you can portray me as an angry black man all you want, but it's my passion. I'm sick of these folks down here misusing us and abusing us, and nobody doing nothing. I called the church out. Hey, where's the church at? They take out money every Sunday and every Wednesday, and you got pastor appreciation and pastor birthday, and they all this money being spent, but their ass ain't in the street speaking up, because they controlled by the same powers to be. And I'm sick of it.
Yeah, man. Well, look, we get the passion, yo, and you got the right to feel that way, and that's another reason why we present the way that we present, right? And at some point, people just gonna have to take it the way we give it up. It ain't always anger when we speak from. We speak from a place of passion, right? So, Miss Katrina, this is what we want to do, because we understand that, you know, the reason for your fight is because you want to make sure that your son's legacy is represented the right way, and you also want to get justice for the injustice that happened to you and your family. And so, you know, I just want you to know, like, if there's any petitions that need to be signed, is there any type of GoFundMe links or anything like that? You know, text it to me, however we need to do it so we can get this out there, attach it to the videos. But I want you to be able to tell the people that'll be watching, that's going to watch these clips and stuff like that, how can they support you along this journey? What do you need? I read that there was a lawsuit, you know, so.
I found that myself.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. So so that's big. So that's another thing. So you're gonna be, and I can see this, and I hate for it to be like whatever this may be the purpose for why your journey may be, but I think that you're gonna be able to help so many different people once your story gets fully pushed in the place that it needs to be. There's going to be so many different people that's going to be able to learn from how you took on this particular scenario, and you did it fearlessly. So talk to me a little bit. Tell me, what is it that is there things that you need? Is there, like I said, is there any of those type of things that you want the people to know?
Right now, I'm fighting the my case has been moved to federal court. The city has moved it to federal.
Gotcha.
And right now they're trying to dismiss my case.
Wow.
With the federal court, with saying that the grand jury already gave a verdict of innocent to the officer, and Attorney General had done the same thing. So I had to I had 30 days to respond to their letter, which I did that. And right now I'm waiting on a response for them.
Gotcha.
You know?
And I want to, not to cut her off, and I want to say the Attorney General that she's referring to, Lynn Finch, is the same Attorney General who did not want to convict the Rankin County Goon Squad when everybody knew what they had done. It was only until the federal, the Civil Rights Division stepped in and flipped those guys, and they pled guilty to federal charges. Then the state turned around and put state charges on them. So it's the same Attorney General, like I say, the same Attorney General who just dropped the state auditor, who the same state auditor who blew the whistle on the governor and all his buddies who stole the welfare money. So she's corrupt. This whole freaking state is corrupt. It's corrupt. And that's why she can't get no justice. And that's why we need to rally around her and not let her son's death be in vain.
Right. So yeah, yo, that's what we need to know.
Right. And his birthday, his 17th birthday, is actually coming up February 1st.
Wow. Yeah. So look. You know, there's a couple of things that, you know, people always do in these scenarios, and one of them is that they let things die down.
Yep.
You know, when it's hot, people jump all on it. When they feel like it's not the thing that's getting the attention, they'll move on.
Right.
And I just want us to understand the power of the internet and understand what this really means. Just because of the fact that we're able to talk about this story, we can be able to share this story every day. And that's what this type of thing gives us the power to do.
Right. And see, my internet really has been, well, my social media, my account, TikTok and Facebook. I feel like my page is being watched, and I don't feel like that. I know it is, because, you know, mostly everything that I posted right after my son died is gone. I can't find it on my social media. And my first TikTok account was banned because I was talking about my son, and I actually, like, his story blew up on TikTok, and TikTok banned me from that account because they said I violated by showing my. So they have been erasing everything about my son since the day he died. Like even his funeral, I can't find it nowhere online. His funeral was
Wow. Wow. So yeah, and that's another thing about that too. When it comes down to that, yeah, they could definitely, shadow ban, our content and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's why it's important that we do when we do things like this, so we are in positions where we have to fight for awareness, that we continue to share the content. Because
right.
that's how we move this stuff around. Is that we got to continue to share it, because yeah, of course they control the algorithms, and they can do all these different things. And long as we still have the content, if we got to keep repurposing it, like keep posting it and keep putting it back up, that's what we'll do. Because at the end of the day, that's what a fight is, right?
That's
That's
right.
what a fight is. The fight is a fight. It's not easy. Somebody is throwing back punches, and we got to either block or duck, and we got to be able to throw back punches as well too. So even if we got to go all the way to Rumble, I mean Rumble and X. Right now we're streaming on X, so everything that we're talking about now and all these other things, it will not be removed from there. So if anything else, we can continue to move and get this word out, even if the other platforms decide that they want to play games. We know that Elon got that thing going on where he's not even allowing anybody to play with him when it comes to free speech. So we'll be able to continue to get this word out, some shape, form, or fashion, regardless. So that's what we want to make sure that
That's right.
we continue to do what we can in this fight. Because like I said, y'all, for those of y'all that are new to the platform, like Miss Katrina, Fred, John's been on before, but on my content, we normally we do reactions to different things, videos, all other kind of things that go on, right? And then we do have fun, and we joke a lot, and we like to, what I'm saying, we like to laugh in between things that we're actually reporting on. But then there's that opportunity that we get the chance, like with you guys tonight, and we get to talk about things that really matter in the moment. Get what I'm saying? Not just because it didn't happen yesterday, but this is in the moment. The thing that happened to your son, Miss Katrina, it's unfortunately it's happening to so many other mothers' children that has not been recorded, has not been caught on film, has not been, and that's why your story is so important. That
And
we rally behind you. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but um, 2018, that same department murdered my son's uncle, Marvin Millen.
Wow.
They blew half of his head off, like it was gone. 2018, the same department, and I know that they're saying they didn't. They know who my son is, but at the time, they was basically saying that we didn't know that was your son. Y'all know exactly who my son was. That was not my first encounter with any of those officers. And I personally myself told them, leave my son alone. Stop harassing my son. Y'all already murdered his uncle. What do y'all want with my son? Leave him alone. He ain't doing nothing. Anytime I had to speak to them, I told them to leave my son alone because they blew his uncle head off. And then they blew my son head off. They did the same thing to my son. And then harassed me after. I was handcuffed at the dollar store going to check on my son. Threatened if I didn't shut up, then they'll squeeze the handcuffs tighter on my wrist. So I start screaming louder. I get to the hospital, the whole department is there. Same
Wow.
thing shipped off to Mobile. Same thing happened out there. They treated me bad just as well as Gulfport Police Department.
Well, help is on the way. Help is on the way. You need some real soldiers down there. Be it the Nation or Black Panthers or whatever, a contact number I got in my phone. That's what you need. So when they show up in numbers, we show up in numbers. The Klan did the same thing. That's why we have to unify ourselves. So I can't wait to come down there.
So October last year, for his first anniversary, we did a march, and I took it up through his old neighborhood, Hughes Avenue, and was going to lead to the beach so we can release balloons at the pier. But on that path, we had to pass by the mayor house. And since we had to pass by the mayor house, which is directly on the beach, half of the department was sitting there waiting on us. As soon as we stepped foot in the street, they jumping out cars, and and that's what made most of the people get mad, including me, because I can walk across this street and I can stand in the middle. But for you to come over here and yell or say get out the street or you need to leave or that, who are you talking to?
Wow.
So in front of the mayor house, which I do have video of that on my Facebook.
Right.
How those officers sit in front of the mayor's house like we were going to do something to the mayor's house or to the mayor. It was just ridiculous.
Man, yo, I just, man, yo, my heart goes out to y'all, man. Yo, I mean, just to try to exist in this country, man, it comes with so much anxiety, yo.
Right. One incident, I was sitting outside my house, at the house I was living in before my son died, which was around the corner from the dollar store.
Right.
I was sitting outside my house. I wasn't parked in my yard. I was parked like on the street, which I do that all the time, and so do other cars. And it was like maybe 12 o'clock one night, and I'm just sitting there on my phone, and an undercover vehicle pull up behind me. And I didn't see the car pull up behind me until they cut the lights on when they was already behind me. So 2 officers jumped out the car. And I'm, looking like, what y'all want? What you pulling up on me for? Oh, you're blocking traffic. It's the middle of the night. Ain't nobody on the street. They want my license, and I'm talking smart to them. So the officer's like, oh, what is your problem? Why are you acting like this? Like they don't know why I'm acting like this. Like they don't know what my problem is. I feel like they was, taunting me by saying, what is your problem, when they know they murdered my son.
Right.
Just 5 months. Just 5 months before my son was murdered.
Wow.
The police surrounded my house looking for his father. Threatened my kids. Threatened me with my kids if I didn't help them find his father. And I told them, that's not my job. That's your job. I don't know where he is.
Wow.
So he told the officer Watson, that's what the people thought, who murdered my son in the first place. Not me. I got that from the community saying that Officer Watson was the one who murdered my son. But Officer Watson was the one who threatened my kids.
Wow.
2 weeks before my son died, Officer Watson was the one who told me that my son was going to end up dead or in jail. And I told him, like, what's going on? What did my son do for you to say something like that? And he just shook his head and walked off. So I feel like my son was a target for those officers for no reason. If my son did anything, then they should have informed me of what my son did. But they could never do that. They would just say little things.
Man,
I mean, I just, it's a lot, It's a lot.
And that's why I wanted to give you that floor, yo. Like, get it out, because at the end of the day, the more people know of what's going on and what you've been dealing with, the more that people understand the severity of being able to help you. And, and with all 3 of you guys, like, because you all are going to need each other in this particular fight, John, and you're helping so many other people at the same time. And everybody is in some type of scenario where they need that help as well too. It's not like one person needed more than the other. Everybody needed as much. And so I'm gonna be honest, we gotta, I know that this is a step. I know it's been a while for you, Miss Katrina. I understand that, but this is another step closer to more awareness because we definitely is going to put this out. There's been people who's been watching this live. I'm sure that once we put the clips out, people will be sharing. We hope y'all do the same thing. And before we get out of here, I just want to make sure that everybody goes around and says what you want the people to know, because at this particular point in time, you know, we gotta get the information back out to you. Like in this particular point, Miss Katrina, we gotta make sure that people understand how to get to your social medias, how to follow you, how to be able to communicate with you, how to know when there's updates that's needed, how to know whenever you guys are having a rally down there, and everything else that it involves. We just need to make sure that people understand how to follow you. So we got to make sure we get that out, right? And so before we close out, I want to go around. We're going to go around. Hey, John, so I want you to we can't see you right now. I think you got your avatar up, but yeah. So before we get out of here, any closing remarks from you based on things that's going on and what you want the people to know?
Yeah, just we're definitely going to be keeping people posted. Hopefully, possibly via your show. Also, Mr. Fred Chambliss page that we're going to be coming down to meet with Miss Katrina and give her the resources that she needs. First thing we're going to do is meet with her, and the second thing we're going to do is do a press conference. Press conference, I hope not only to generate a lawyer, but I'm also going to be referring her to a lawyer as well. And then more penetration. We're basically going to create a campaign for her son. Same way they campaigned for Breonna Taylor, campaign for George Floyd. It's the same blueprint. And so it's a campaign. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So our goal is to build resources, energy, information. If she feels as though she's being threatened by the police, one thing I was going to say earlier is that when you feel you're being threatened by the police or they being unruly, call 911. They can't hang up until you hang up, and everything's recorded. And so that has helped a lot of people in this country that they've called 911. So 911 is your special recording. Don't try to go Facebook Live because they can block your page and take that down. One thing that can be used not only for recording purposes, but in court is a 911 call. How soon we forget that they pulled some old 911 calls of Nicole Simpson calling the police on O.J. Simpson. And when you think that that archive is dead, you're wrong. They pulled them up and tried to use it against them in court, even though they weren't successful because they went up against the baddest man in the country at that time, which was Johnny Cochran. But they pulled those old 911 tapes up and played Nicole Simpson screaming in reference to O.J. Simpson fighting her. And so use 911 to the fullest. And then again, I want to thank Mr. Fred Chambliss for being on tonight, aka the whistleblower. It's people like him. That's the Medgar Evers of Mississippi. And he gives me hope because he just stays vigilant on the streets. He hasn't given up. I've actually put a spark in him with civil rights, and he done ran with it and created an entire flame, and that's what's needed. So if I can find about 10 more Fred Chambliss in Mississippi, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Miss Katrina, keep your head up. You will see us soon.
There it is. All right. So Fred, what's going on with you, man? Let the people know.
I'm still fighting the Federal Bureau of Prisons. They recently terminated me after my press conference with Mr. Barnett, which was illegal. They wrongfully terminated me. I'm by law, I'm a whistleblower, and there are laws that's supposed to protect me. And like I say, I've reported all this. I reported it from everybody you could think of. I have one civil lawsuit and 3 EEO cases, just waiting to hear back from 2 of the judges on my waiting to hear back from the judge on my civil lawsuit and one of my second EEO case. And I'm just going to continue to fight and expose, because if Mr. Barnett is here, somebody got to do it, and it's like, it's not many. Like Mr. Barnett said, if he had 10 more people like me around here, we'd be all right. But I've sparked the flame of another guy that I was interviewing. So, he's doing his little civil rights thing now, Mr. Leon Seals. So, by Mr. Barnett sparking the flame of me, I sparked the flame of somebody else. So, hopefully we can just continue this thing. And if people want to continue, watch my story, I'm on Fred Chambliss on Facebook. His last name CHAMBLISS. You'll see me standing on 2 federal prison signs. And you'll see my story on the on my cover story on my Facebook page. Like I said, I'm on the front page of the Jackson Advocate as the Yazoo City whistleblower, because I have exposed the Bureau. The Bureau of Prisons is corrupt, just like the Mississippi Department of Corrections, just like the Rankin County Sheriff Department, just like the Jackson Police Department, just like Lexington Police Department, Madison County Police Department, Gulfport Police Department. This whole Mississippi, like I say earlier, Mississippi is on fire. And it's just remnants of the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. However you want to go, far back you want to go, Mississippi is burning.
Right.
And we need all the outside resources we can get because these churches ain't real. And like Brother Barnett said, we need to be in the mosque. I've just currently started going to the mosque myself. And Mr. Barnett is absolutely correct on that. The mosque is where our people need to be. I'm not saying they have to join, but the mosque is where our people need to be because they're teaching that they're the biggest whistleblowers in the world. The Muslims, the FOI, the Nation of Islam, they're the biggest whistleblowers.
That's right.
So that's why they're hated so much by the government. That's why, and people don't know, Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation has a $400 million lawsuit against the Jews. I forgot the name of the Jew organization, but they have a $400 million lawsuit against the Jews for discriminatory acts against the Nation of Islam. You know,
Right.
so I mean that's not even being talked about. Well, man, $400 million lawsuit. And as well as Mr. Barnett and his team, they have a $400 million lawsuit against the Rankin County Goon Squad, where I'm
That's
at right now. So we people ain't talking about that either. You know, I mean, a $400 million lawsuit. Come on now. But yeah, I just want people to keep an eye on Mississippi, man, because we need prayers and Hail Marys. We need everything because, like I say, Mississippi is burning. And I'm just so glad that Mr. Barnett was able to spark that flame in me, and now that I can help him and help Miss Mateen and help whoever needs the help and just grow my platform and expose because I'm far from scared and I'm ready.
Definitely.
That's right.
All right, so make sure everybody follow Fred Chambliss. I'm gonna link up with you myself as soon as we get done with the show. And yeah, man, we're gonna follow you and keep up with your support, with your movement, and help support you on that end too. So,
Yes, sir.
Katrina, let everybody know what's going on with you and how they can figure out how to get with you and keep, supporting you in the movement.
I want to let everybody know that my son was a good. No matter what the department is trying to portray him to be, as far as being a thug and a gangbanger, whatever they call it. Everything about my case, I usually post it on my TikTok. So anything that you want to know about the case or videos of when my son was murdered, all that is on my TikTok account, which is Jaheem's mom.
How do you spell Jaheem? Is it with the I-E-M or the E-E-M?
I-E-M, Jaheem.
Okay.
Jaheem's mom. I have a few things on my Facebook account, but I just really need support from community, everybody, to be honest. The people that I had in the beginning, I can't really say where they are and how they're helping me now. Maybe it's not benefiting them right now because my son's story is not in the light where it was in the beginning.
Right.
So to help me is, just I want it to be back in the light. I need people to talk about his story and share his story. look it up on WLOX, YouTube. It's everywhere. Well, their narrative is everywhere. But I have actual screenshots and photos on my TikTok, which I took myself from the body cam footage from the officer that shot my son.
Wow.
Where it shows right after he handcuffed my son, there was no gun in the spot that they say they found it. The rise on the scene. My GoFundMe is Jaheim McMillan, organized by Katrina Mateen. And my Cash App, it's embarrassing to say it. I don't need to change it, but it's Forever Sexy 39. It's a little embarrassing.
No, it's not. It's just that, you know what I'm saying? Like that, it just wasn't like the thing that we you was gonna come and say. That's just dope, though.
It's not about the signature. It's about the cash.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. So one more time, Forever Sexy what?
39.
Oh, okay. As long as it wasn't Forever Sexy 69, you good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 42 now, but I made it when I was 39.
Okay. All right. That's all love.
Hey, brother Rod, I got two more. I want to say this too. We got two more stories kind of similar to Miss Mateen. We got one of Brother Raheem Carter. That's not too far from her, bro. Ben Crump was down here on that story too. There's a young brother who was chased through the woods, and he called his mom and told him if anything happened to him, it was his boss man, and he worked at a paper mill, and he ran to the police department for help, and they told him to get out. They couldn't help him, and he was weeks later found running through the woods with his shirt off, with a big stick in his hand, running through. He was pictured on a trail cam, and his mother didn't get his body. The only thing she got back was his head severed. And his name is Raheem Carter. And that story has kind of died off too. And we just had another story as of a few months back too, of a young boy, black boy, in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, who was run over by this white kid, and his mother came and helped him clean up the scene. And because she has ties to the police department, and she admitted to helping clean up the scene. Nobody has been, and the boy has admitted, they all admitted to it. And no charges have been filed because they have ties to the police department. And so, we got all that. I say, man, this shit is, it's so messed up down here. It's messed up. It is messed up down here. It is messed up.
Yo, that's crazy, yo. All right, yeah. So we're gonna open up the floor.
And Brother Rod, you could do a whole series, man, 2 or 3 weeks on Mississippi burning.
I was just getting ready to say, I'm gonna have to have y'all come back on, man. Like we're gonna have to do this periodically, man. Like and give y'all the platform, man, so we could be able to talk about certain things specifically, and then give them its proper attention, and then move it around because.
Most definitely. And when you drop this link, when you drop your link, I'm gonna be sending it out to Attorney Crump, all of the attorneys that I know, Attorney Shabazz, Sister Katrina, so she can share with all of her friends, all of the homeboys, these homies that was in the car with him. I'm gonna make sure I do, because I do marketing. I'm gonna make sure I flood this video, this interview throughout the whole area of Mississippi.
Yeah, we got to, because it needs to be known. Like, people need to understand what it means to work together. So before we get out of here, hey, Meek, your avatar is up. If you want to let everybody know what's going on with you, and well, you already know. We for those of y'all that don't know, Meek worked with me on a lot of the filming and the things that we do. So she's an entrepreneur in her own right too, as well. So go ahead, Meek, let them know what you got going on.
Sorry, my kids just came up. What am I saying? Oh, this year, I don't know. I have a lot of things coming up this year. I'm going to get back into my coaching probably around March. I got a couple of programs I'm trying to put together, trying to get marketed. I am, of course, still working on planners. It's never too late to order a planner. It's always custom for you. So yeah, I'm getting that done this week. It's my birthday this week, so I'm pumped. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm lit.
All right, so that's a lot. So what we want to do before we go, I want everybody to know that's watching that we'll watch the playbacks and everything like that. You know, if you can find it in your heart, because we understand that a lot of times when things are not on your doorstep, it doesn't hit the same. But just if you guys are parents, anybody that's going to watch the playback, if you're a parent, if you're aunt, uncle, anything in that particular order, if that, this could very well happen to you. And just remember that, and then you will need this help. So everybody that's been up here tonight, we want to make sure that y'all know that I'm going to do my part to help support you guys. I'm going to market and promote what we've talked about tonight. And anytime that y'all want to get on and talk about something, the door is open to y'all. Y'all got my information. Just hit me up and we'll schedule it in and let y'all come on and let y'all talk and chop it up on any progress or anything that y'all need the people to know. So, Ms. Katrina, I want you to understand that you have that option. Anytime that you want to jump on and talk about something and keep it moving, because we want to make sure that you stay inspired too, because you still, you have a son, a 10-year-old son that has gone through this with you. And it's very important that that he sees that you have some support as well too, even if it's from strangers. I guess stranger danger in some spaces, but in this particular case, that people that they may not know you personally, but empathizes with you guys and is willing to stand behind you as best that we can. So I want to make sure that you understand that. You have my phone number, my personal number, so anytime you want to reach out, just reach out to me and we'll make something shape. Other than that, to all of y'all that's watching tonight, thank y'all. Everybody that jumped off and on tonight, thank y'all. We definitely appreciate that. We know that it's a tornado going on out here in the city and everywhere we are. So we know Illy was trying to get on and off, but the weather didn't permit. Tamika was supposed to come on. The weather didn't permit. So shout out to all of y'all that did watch it and y'all do have y'all internets and stuff. We thank y'all for taking the time out to watch us tonight. Also, stay safe out there. Another thing, though, before I go, y'all know we like to close out with something. Remember this, y'all, if y'all don't remember nothing else. Everything that starts off comes back. So if you are a person that can see that people are going through things, even if it ain't going through you personally, just remember to empathize with those people. It don't cost nothing to throw up a prayer for these people. If you don't believe in something, that's fine, too. If you believe in money, these people can use donations, not just because people feel like people want money, it's because that they're fighting real causes and real cases. They need support, right? Although we understand, like Brother Fred earlier said, that he lost his job by speaking up. There's a lot of people that won't speak up. They won't put their livelihood in the forefront in order to speak up. So brothers like him, brothers like John, you guys have to find ways that you can support their cause and movement, even if you can't be there in person. Sending $1, sending 99 cents, sending, anything that can help go towards the movement. Look, that 99 cents can help buy a stamp. Wait, hold on. How much is a stamp nowadays? Wait. I don't know, but maybe if you guys give up enough that they could get a stamp to mail out. I don't know. It's just like whatever you feel like that you can contribute, please do. We understand what level the country is in right now, but we also understand that food, clothing, and shelter. Food, clothing, and shelter. We control those two things. We control our freedom. It's not so much about your job. So remember that, right? So remember that. So. As we always say, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until next time, I'm your boy Rod One. This is Sparking Conversation. Y'all know what to do. Stay focused out there and stay lit, y'all. We out of here. Until next time. Peace.
Hey.